What is up, everybody? Good evening and welcome to Big Blue Avenue. I'm your host, Tom Scavetta, and I am thrilled to talk about a New York Giants win, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, let's jump right into our weekly recap as the Giants upset the Los Angeles Chargers 21 to 18 on Sunday, and they become the first 0-3 team to beat a 3-0 team since 2008. That was 17 years ago. Very, very long time, very uncommon. I'm sure it knocked out a lot of people in Survivor. Hopefully, you were not one of them. I'm sure it ruined a lot of football pools, but I'm glad it did for a New York Giants win. First time the Giants beat the Chargers since 1998. It's been that long, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get into the meat of the show, make sure to check us out if you haven't already on our social media channels on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter at Big Blue Avenue. Once again, my name is Tom Scavetta. Let's talk about the elephant in the room being Jaxson Dart and analyze his first ever NFL start. I am super pumped for this, ladies and gentlemen. Jaxson Dart, first round rookie out of Ole Miss, a guy who the Giants traded up for in the draft. They traded 3 draft picks for this guy. Pick 34, pick 99 of this past year's draft, and a third round pick next year. And I'm going to be honest, guys, Jaxson Dart looked really good. I was at my niece's christening, so my brother surprised me and had the Giants game on. I thought I was going to have to watch it on replay, but shout out Danny. Appreciate that. Dart is a player who brings aura. He brings confidence. He is a guy who can really put the team on his back. If the Giants started Russell Wilson in this game, they are automatically 0-4. And I hate to say that because I do think Russ is a good guy. I think he cared. I think he wanted to win football games. It sucks that Russ never got to win a start as a Giants quarterback in his time as the full-time starter. But I'm happy for the future. The future is now. There were some growing pains for Jaxson Dart, but let's look at his stat line first. He was 13 of 20 for 111 yards, 1 touchdown pass, no interceptions. He had 10 rushes for 54 yards and 1 touchdown. I think the one specific downside of his performance was he was sacked 5 times, and a couple of those were avoidable. I will definitely talk about that. Russ also did have to come in for a couple of plays as Dart got checked out for a possible injury. I know he's wearing those sleeves on his knees during practice this week, possible hamstring soreness. He seems to be okay. I think moving forward, he will learn how to slide and take some less hits. But all in all, the Giants are 1-3, trying to salvage a season early by turning to their rookie. He's the first NFL player ever to win his first start, run for 50-plus rushing yards and a touchdown, have a touchdown pass, and 0 interceptions. No other NFL player has done that in his first career start ever. So Jaxson Dart already making history. They like to use the reference New Jack City, as in J-A-X. I don't know if I love that because J-A-X stands for Jacksonville. But I'll roll with it for now. I kind of like Dart Dynasty. That's the name of one of my fantasy football teams. I think it'll be very interesting to see. And folks, if you have any comments about Jaxson Dart and Big Blue, we'd love to hear from you. Please drop them in the comments section below. We really do appreciate all of the love and support. And Dart is also the only quarterback over the last 20 years to win his first career start against a team 3-0 and better. This guy is a winner. He throws footballs in different spots of the field compared to Russell Wilson. This was not a soft team to go up against. Yes, their offensive line was banged up. A lot of people have been saying that, and that's true. We knew that going into the football game between Bozeman and Pipkins. Slater out for the year. Joe Alt had to leave the game early. Mekhi Becton was out with a concussion. Zion Johnson was the only healthy starting offensive lineman. A quick shout out here. Daniel Bakley saying hello. Scadaboo is good help for him. You know what's interesting, D-Bake? Dart and Scadaboo never met in person before both being drafted by the Giants. They had never crossed paths in college, which I thought was really interesting. They're both winners. They both care. They both bring positive attitude. They both bring swag. And speaking of Scadaboo, I thought he had a good game. 25 rushes for 79 yards. Now, I say good game because a lot of his longer yardage came in the first half. If you break it down in the game as a whole, it's not great, just 3.2 yards per carry. But he also had that very important 2-point conversion in the second half. We saw Devin Singletary get some carries as well. That was really interesting. And it is nuts. It's a fun fact as well. So I do appreciate that comment, D-Big. Also, Robert Carter saying, what's up? I guess we'll give you a go, Pittsburgh. But thank you for the comment. The receiving core definitely took a hit this week. We'll talk more about Jaxson Dart in a little bit when we bring up our guest for the night, James Montefusco, who I am thrilled to have. We'll take a deeper dive into Dart's first NFL start. Malik Nabers tears his ACL. I believe it was the second quarter of this game. Comes out. It was a free play. And that's what really, really stunk about this. The fact that he got hurt on a free play, the Chargers jumped offside. Dart was trying to throw the ball down the field, and Nabers unfortunately landed awkwardly. He is out for the season. He had 2 catches for 20 yards in this game, finished his sophomore season with 18 catches for 271 yards and 2 touchdowns. Darius Slayton had 3 catches for 44 yards. Tight end Theo Johnson scored his first touchdown of this young season as well. Wan'Dale Robinson just 3 catches for 14 yards. Again, a tough Chargers defense, a game where the Giants had a game plan. Dart gets the ball out quick, run the football. And I love how Dart stepped up in the pocket and threw that sidearm pass. That's not something many quarterbacks can do. We see Stafford do it, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, just to name a few. I'd say only about 5 or 6 quarterbacks can do that consistently. If Dart could deliver that type of ball consistently, he'll be very tough to stop. And his first touchdown pass in the NFL was that shovel pass to Theo Johnson. I thought that was a good quick release by him. Those are guys that stepped up in the receiving core when Nabers left with the injury. Now, defensively, the Chargers defense I thought was really, really good. They had 6 sacks. The Giants O-line also needs to be better. Tui Tuipulotu had 4 sacks, 5 TFLs. The one bright spot of the line was that Andrew Thomas allowed 0 pressures, but the rest of the offensive line definitely struggled. And as Dart said in his locker room speech post-game after getting his first career game ball, the defense really took it home. Now let's talk about that defense. According to Next Gen Stats, they had a 47.7% pressure rate in week 4. 20 pressures total between 3 players, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, and Kayvon Thibodeau. Giants had 2 sacks and forced 2 turnovers in this game. Thibodeau had a sack and 3 QB hits. Burns now tied for the NFL lead in sacks with 5. And Dexter Lawrence, Sexy Dexy, with his first career interception. He joked about it. He should have had 6 on that play. That's okay. It led to a Giants score anyway, but you'd love to see Dexter Lawrence and what he was able to do. Drew Phillips, I thought, had an awesome game. He picked Herbert off once. He did a job on Ladd McConkey, held to just 1 reception on 6 targets. Deonte Banks returning kickoffs was a little weird. I think it speaks volumes to Cordell Flott and the job that he's done, along with Phillips and Adebo, guys like that. It sucked to see Banks relegated to a backup special teams role, but that's who he is right now. It's not good for Banks, but Flott and Phillips were drafted high in their respective drafts for good reason. The real Banks replacement was Paulson Adebo, you could argue, even though Flott beat him out on the depth chart. So let's get into the Chargers. So Herbert only had 203 passing yards, 1 touchdown pass, was picked off twice. He was sacked twice. The Giants did a job on him. Now, Omarion Hampton, that was another story. He rushed for 128 yards on 12 carries. Not great. He had 1 score, average over 10 yards per carry. They took McConkey away from Herbert. Quentin Johnston, therefore, had 8 catches for 98 yards and 1 touchdown. And the Giants really impressed me with their offense. They were 7 of 15 on third down. They forced 14 Chargers penalties on the road, 107 yards. Giants had 8 penalties themselves, but for only 43 yards. Again, they have to clean that up. But, the Chargers having 14, that was a recipe for disaster. And the Giants did what they had to do. They kept a good top 10 offense off the football field for a majority of this game. They held the time of possession advantage, holding the ball for 35 minutes and 28 seconds. They had 0 turnovers in this game. And again, I'll bring this up. They beat the Chargers for the first time since 1998. Did it feel so good to get a win on a Sunday, ladies and gentlemen? Shout out to my cousin, John Unterweger, all the way from Oklahoma. You do a great job. Thank you, John. I always try to do my best and entertain the audience. You have more comments like John. If you want to ask me any questions about Big Blue or their upcoming opponent this week in the New Orleans Saints, feel free to do so, and we'll get to your comment as soon as we can. We'd love to hear from you. Our audience is what makes the show. Quickly here, I want to go over some takeaways. Again, I just want to do a quick recap. My week was crazy. Didn't have a whole lot of time. But quick takeaways here. We mentioned 0-3 team beats a 3-0 team for the first time since 2008. Dart's presence improved the offense drastically. Really, really awesome work by him. Cam Skattebo is the 4th best rookie through 4 weeks, according to multiple sites, Next Gen Stats, PFF. Again, say what you want about PFF, but they do have some good stuff on there. Last week was also the first time that multiple rookies had at least 50 rushing yards in a game for the Giants since 1980. That includes Dart and Skattebo. Again, Dart's legs are what makes him so special and versatile. We know he has a good arm, but in this game, their focus was on running the football, and the Chargers sort of took that away in the second half. The element of what helped Jaxson Dart and Big Blue win this game was his legs. We saw him with that 35-plus yard run in the red zone. I would have preferred he went down, but he tried to stiff arm Cam Hart. Cam Hart had some words for Dart. Dart had some words back. I'd like to see him slide there. I would definitely like to see him slide, but it is what it is. But yeah, Cam Skattebo is really good. He makes a lot of people miss. We'll talk about him a little bit more with James later. Defensively, Abdul Carter is really starting to get it, guys. He is really starting to get his role in the National Football League. Had a nice QB hit on Sunday, and pairing him with Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns on that edge rushing unit is awesome. We're seeing a lot more of him edge rushing as the weeks go on. Due to the Mike McFadden injury, he's had to play more inside linebacker than I think most Giants fans would like him to see him do. But all in all, I think he's done a fine job. He's really starting to get acclimated to the NFL style of play, and that's definitely promising from a rookie draft pick. Another comment here from D-Bake saying, athleticism is key. You see how being allowed is killing Stroud now. Not quite sure what that second sentence means, if you could clarify. He says Dart is going to be good. Well, I think, too, with Stroud, right, not to go on the Texans here, they're 1-3 because their offensive line is bad. They did nothing good to protect Stroud in this offseason. The Giants brought back all 5 starters from last season, so there's continuity there. And Dart was thrown in the fire. I see what he means, is slowed down. It's slowing down C.J. Stroud's development. We don't want to see that happen with Jaxson Dart. So the fact that the Giants have continuity on that offensive line is awesome. And you want to see Dart improve in coming weeks. And the offensive line will even be more important now without Malik Nabers. You can't just get the ball out quick all the time and get it into his hands anymore. You got to go throw to Wandale, Slayton. We're going to have to see more of Jalen Hyatt as well. Maybe Bo Collins, the UDFA out of Notre Dame. I don't know if the Giants are going to bring anybody in. Right now, it doesn't look like they will, but somebody will have to step up. 2 other takeaways from this game. Jude McAtomney, the kicker from Ireland, should get a chance to be the Giants kicker of the future, in my opinion. Do not rush Gano back. I would add Mikatomne to the 53-man roster, or maybe don't bring Gano back at all. Honestly, he's 38 years old. He's injury prone. There's definitely something there to be said. What up, Cole G? The line won't hold Dart back. It will be Kafka's play calling that will slow him down. I sort of agree with that. I think with Kafka, the play calling is different with Dart at quarterback than Russ. What I mean is the offensive line is more important now without Malik Nabers. I mean, it's always important, guys, but you got to give receivers more time to create separation. Nabers is such a good route runner. He is so quick, and he does a good job at getting open. Slayton and Wandale, good, serviceable NFL starters, but they can't create separation and have the same quickness like a Malik Nabers, for example. But I do agree Kafka's play calling is concerning. We'll see if it improves with Dart on their center. I think they'll add some more things to the playbook. But I do agree with your comment, Steve. Appreciate that. And the Giants win their 750th game in franchise history. That includes postseason. Congratulations to Big Blue. Only one of 3 NFL organizations to reach that milestone. It took them long enough. It took him long enough. Cole G says, I see what you mean. I said all off season we needed another dog at receiver. Yeah, look, Jalen Hyatt's real frustrating, man. He's real frustrating. I don't know how to feel about it. Maybe they sign a guy like Isaiah Hodgins off the Steelers practice squad and bring him back to the 53. I think that might be a viable option. Or, well, Gabe Davis is hurt right now, but he is on the reserve or injury reserve practice squad position, whatever you call that, for the Buffalo Bills. So those are 2 options right there. Quickly here, before we bring up James, let's go over our New York Giants player of the week. And this week's player of the week is none other than rookie quarterback, you guessed it, Jaxson Dart. So Dart, I mentioned 13 of 20 for 111 yards, 1 touchdown pass, 1 rushing touchdown, 54 yards on the ground on 10 carries. First quarterback in his first career start to get a win, run for 50 rushing yards, and a touchdown pass with no picks. No other player has done that. And he's also the only quarterback over the last 20 years to win his first career start against a 3-0 team. And a lot of people just love what he brings to the table. They love his energy, his physicality. And that first drive really set the tone for the Giants.